Thanksgiving arrived, and my uncle took up the carving knife like it was a scepter. As he sliced through the turkey, his words cut sharper than the blade. "You should be thankful we even invited you," he said, casually cruel. My mom gave a quiet, tight smile, one of those smiles that says, "I hear you, but I won't fight you." The table buzzed with forced laughter and distracted chatter, but I felt the weight settle deep inside me. I stood slowly, glass raised. "Thank you," I said, loud and clear, "for reminding me why I ate before I came." The laughter died. I set my glass down and walked away without another word, no plate, no goodbye. It wasn't about making a scene or winning an argument, it was about refusing to shrink anymore, choosing honesty over the familiar, suffocating silence. Later that day, a lawyer showed up with an envelope for my mom. She opened it at the table, her face draining of color. "He wouldn't dare," she whispered. But I did. I'd come prepared, 4 hours in rain and traffic, carrying a bottle of wine, a neutral sweater, and a half-forged smile. I told myself the tension was paranoia, that family, however messy, loved in their own way, that maybe this time, things would be different. They weren't. This moment wasn't new, just the first time I refused to pretend it didn't matter. I spent the next morning alone, rereading a message from my cousin. "Your mom said you made a scene, that you ruined the holiday." I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was the same old story. Whenever I stopped being the convenient one, whenever I stepped outside the role they wrote for me, I pulled at the threads of their carefully crafted narrative. I remembered a dozen quiet slights: my brother's birthday dinner I wasn't told changed, my dad's retirement slideshow replaced without a word, my sister telling friends I never helped with tuition. I'd always believed if I stayed useful, if I kept trying, they'd see me, but usefulness isn't love. When my uncle spoke, it wasn't cruelty, it was honesty. They didn't want me for me, they wanted the help I brought. That night, I dug through old emails and receipts, tracing every moment I was taken for granted, every unpaid favor, not to punish, but to understand. No one said thank you, no one even asked. I realized I'd been a service, unpaid, invisible, expected. The lawyer's envelope wasn't about money, it was a reckoning, the first time I demanded they see me, beyond the roles and expectations. I didn't want to hurt them, I just stopped hoping. After Thanksgiving, silence fell, no calls, no apologies, just the quiet that says they're rewriting their version of the story. So I rewrote mine. I logged into the systems I'd built for them, the family phone plan, cloud storage, streaming accounts, the keys to their digital lives, all under my name. One by one, I took control back. I split the phone plan into separate accounts. I removed shared access to family photos and documents. I ended the Amazon household membership. No warnings, no explanations. Just small, quiet steps to reset the balance. Because the message was clear. You should be thankful we even invited you. I wasn't going to be their invisible helper anymore, but I knew they'd feel every reset. This wasn't about revenge, it was about returning what was never shared, responsibility. I wasn't punishing them, I was stepping out of a role they never asked if I wanted. Not out of spite. Out of balance. I wasn't their fixer anymore. I wasn't the unpaid IT guy who patched their lives together and got paid in passive-aggressive thank yous. I was the system. And now, I was logging off. Letting go of that role felt like breaking up with a version of myself I didn't realize I'd outgrown. By that afternoon, I moved on to the infrastructure in their home. Everything I set up came from love, until I realized love wasn't what I was getting in return. Smart thermostat, access revoked. Doorbell camera, deactivated. The custom light scheduler I wrote for my dad's energy bragging rights, offline. I didn't shut it all down out of anger. I simply stopped supporting what was never acknowledged. Everything they built their comfort on was borrowed. I was just returning it. By 6 p.m., the first message arrived. My sister, why is my email locked? Did you mess with something? I didn't reply. Then my mom, Netflix is down, can you fix it? I stared at the screen. Fix it. Still that phrase. Then came the final thread, the one I hadn't remembered, a notification from the mortgage company. I was still a co-signer on the refinance they did 2 years ago. Just to help qualify, my mother had said. That night, I filed to remove my name. I knew it would trigger a credit review. I already knew they wouldn't pass it without me. This wasn't retaliation. It was clarity. A long overdue course correction. It hurt to draw the line. but it hurt more to pretend it wasn't needed. The next morning, a voicemail from my father. "We don't know what's going on, but it's childish. You're making things harder than they need to be." It was the closest thing to acknowledgement I'd heard in years. And still, no question, no apology, no curiosity. Just the assumption I'd fix it. I closed the voicemail and opened a different kind of file. Receipts, subscriptions, invoices. Line after line of unreturned effort. I highlighted each entry and labeled it, unreciprocated. Then I opened a spreadsheet. Not for vengeance. For clarity. I wasn't cutting them off. I was ending the version of myself they used like a tool. And the next steps would be bigger, legal, clean, and irreversible. But first, I had to reclaim what I built. Because I didn't just contribute to their comfort, I was their comfort. And I disappeared inside it. By the next day, I was shutting down systems one by one. The storage unit I paid for so my dad could hoard vintage tools, lease terminated, 5 years, never a thank you. The business software I installed for his firm, access removed, they'd never paid a dime, it ran under my family tier. That tier no longer existed. I didn't leave a note. Then came the email server I created for my uncle's dental clinic, the same uncle who carved the turkey and carved into me. His clinic ran on my infrastructure, firewall, patient portal, encrypted backups. All maintained, all free. I gave them 7 days. I left a message in the admin dashboard. "This system has been maintained at no cost for 11 years. It will be deactivated on the 15th. Please migrate your data." Professional. Respectful. Final. The next morning, my company's portal lit up. My father, my uncle. Frantic clicks, logins, access denied. I didn't wait for their calls. I called my lawyer. Not to sue. To separate. Every legal thread tying me to their lives, I began to cut them. The mortgage cosign, removal filed. Emergency contact status, rescinded. The family trust funded for future stability, frozen, pending full review. Then, the symbolic reset. My mom's fallback email, one I made for her in 2009, the recovery key to every family account, passwords, bank codes, confirmations, all funneled through it. I changed the password, logged out, deleted the recovery info. That inbox died quietly at 11:42 a.m. Tuesday. By that afternoon, my cousin texted, "Your mom says the Wi-Fi's down. Did you unplug something?" I hadn't. It shut off automatically when the license expired. No admin, no renewal, no access. Just a message. "This service has been discontinued." Now, they'd have to call someone else. Someone they'd have to pay. And that's when it clicked. It was never about money. It was about gratitude withheld on purpose. For years, I paid the bills they forgot, built the systems they lived in, held everything together quietly. And they called it nothing. So I gave them nothing back. Not to be petty, to be honest. Because the truth was this. They never saw me. They saw support. And I don't do support anymore. I left one final note, not for them. For me. A pinned journal entry. They didn't miss you as a person. They missed the ease you created by never pushing back. You were never invisible. You were the frame. They just never looked at the walls. I enabled the silence, thinking harmony meant hiding hurt. They didn't apologize. That would have required reflection. What came instead was noise, frantic, defensive, loud. 3 days after the systems went dark, it began. "My sister, this is insane. We're family. Fix it. Fix it." Always that phrase, as if it could reverse gravity. Then my mother, sobbing. Not out of guilt, out of inconvenience. "You've left us in a terrible position. Your father can't access his files. We have appointments. What do you expect us to do?" I didn't reply. The quieter I stayed, the louder they got. Then came the social media posts, vague, shaming. "My aunt, it's heartbreaking when ego destroys connection. Families are about forgiveness, not revenge." I didn't bite. But my cousin sent a screenshot from a private group chat. My mother had gone further. "He's having another episode." There it was. The moment I stopped being useful, I became unstable. That's the narrative now. I wasn't setting boundaries, I was spiraling. I wasn't healing, I was broken. Because when they can't guilt you back, they paint you unwell. Overnight, I'd gone from the generous son, the go-to-fix-it guy, to the liability. The story they told wasn't that I finally had enough. It was that I overreacted. Threw a tantrum over a joke. One cousin reached out. "Are you okay?" "They're just worried." But I wasn't the one who changed the locks on reality. They were. And I was finally done picking them. Maybe talk it out. Family's hard, but they love you. I ignored it. Because love without accountability isn't love, it's manipulation. Then came the escalation. My father emailed my workplace. Subject: concern about my son's mental state. It was a formal, strangely clinical message, claiming I'd isolated myself, made erratic financial decisions, and might endanger client relationships. He CC'd my uncle, a quiet threat dressed as concern. I forwarded it to HR with a single note: family dispute, non-issue, no action needed. Then I blocked his email. But they weren't done. That weekend, a burner Twitter account appeared under my name. It followed friends, colleagues, even clients, then posted a thread of fake screenshots, rants supposedly written by me about my family, coworkers, and company. It was sloppy. Wrong tone, clumsy grammar, made-up dates. But it spread. For 48 hours, I fielded calls, messages, even one journalist inquiry. I didn't panic. Just sent a group email. The account is fraudulent. Legal steps are underway. Thank you for your patience. Then I logged off and called my lawyer. We traced the account to a VPN exit node in the same city as my parents. Not proof, but enough. Then my cousin messaged me. The same cousin who used to send memes at 2 a.m. She wrote, "Your mom's saying you threatened to sue her, that you're trying to steal her retirement." I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so predictably grotesque. They'd twisted truth into something palatable. A story where they were victims of the person who carried them for a decade. But I didn't argue. I didn't post a rebuttal. I didn't respond. Because when you stop enabling dysfunction, it doesn't go quiet. It fights, loudly. And I wasn't stepping back into the fire just to explain my burns. So I moved, quietly, permanently. I updated every legal document. Removed my parents from all future decision-making roles. No emergency contact. No medical proxy. No financial fallback. I left a message with my advisor: if they contact you, refer them to my attorney. Then I posted one final message online. Not for them, for me. It took me years to realize, not everything labeled family is automatically healthy. Sometimes blood isn't love. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away before you catch fire. 2. Comments off. Peace on. They wanted silence. I offered clarity. Not with rage. Not with threats. With receipts. It started on a Wednesday. My inbox pinged. Subject: you might want to see this. A former colleague had sent me a link. A Facebook post from my mother. Carefully worded, heavy with insinuation. It's so hard watching someone you love struggle. Please pray for my son. He's isolated, angry, and lost in bitterness. We've tried everything. Below it, a chorus of sympathy. You're such a strong mom. He'll come around. Mental health is hard. Stay patient. They were building a story. One where I was unstable. Where my silence meant guilt. Where my withdrawal wasn't freedom, but failure. I didn't panic. I opened the folder I'd been building for months. Screenshots. Invoices. Emails. Logs. Texts. Contracts. Statements. All timestamped. All real. At 3:04 p.m. I went live. A neutral post. No name calling, no rage. Just, there's been a lot said about me recently. I've stayed quiet, not out of shame, but out of exhaustion. Now that stories are being told, here are the facts. And then came the thread. A $12,000 transfer to their mortgage when they missed 3 months. A Venmo from my sister, $800 for rent, followed by a laughing emoji. An email from my dad, one more favor? 12 times in 3 years. A full breakdown of $30,000 in unpaid tech work for their businesses. A message from my mom: it's just easier when you handle it. You're good at being invisible. I didn't disappear. I disengaged. They didn't lose me. They lost the version of me who never said no. Who held everything together, while staying silent. Then I logged off. By nightfall, the ripple became a wave. Friends messaged. Colleagues. Even aunts I hadn't heard from in years. My boss emailed me, "We've got your back." But the real shock came the next morning. A comment appeared under my thread, from one of my mother's closest friends. I was at that dinner, I saw how they treated him. They joked about getting a tax write-off for having a broken son. I was horrified. Then another. A former assistant from my uncle's clinic. He ran their entire digital system, for free. I saw the emails, I saw the pressure, don't let them rewrite this. Then came the breaking point, a leaked screenshot. A private group chat. My sister had written. He was only ever useful when we needed something. She forgot who else was in the chat. It exploded. Their version of the story unraveled on its own. My dad posted a vague quote, "Betrayal starts at home." Comments were turned off an hour later. My mom went silent. My sister deactivated her account. But it wasn't over. At 2:43 p.m., I got a call from a blocked number. I picked up. It was my uncle, the dentist. His voice shook like he'd aged 10 years. "What did you do?" I told the truth, I said. "You embarrassed us publicly," he snapped. "No," I corrected. "I stopped carrying the lie alone." He hung up. By 6 p.m., I had over 200 messages, 20 missed calls, press inquiries. I didn't answer. Not out of fear, but because I had nothing left to explain. I let the facts speak where my words never could. And that night, for the first time in years, I slept. 3 days later, they came to my door. My mother, my father, my sister. Lined up like an intervention. Practiced faces, matching coats, matching desperation. I opened the door, but didn't invite them in. "We just want to talk," my mom said gently. I wasn't angry anymore. Just done pretending. "You made your point," my dad added. "But family isn't war." "No," I said. "Then what do you call 20 years of silence while I built your life?" My sister looked down. "We didn't realize how much you did," my mom offered. "Not sorry. Just surprised." Then she said it. "We need you." And there it was. Not miss you. Not love you. Just need. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. You didn't just lose a holiday. You lost the person who gave everything, quietly, 4 years. "So that's it?" my sister asked. "Over a joke?" "No. Over 20 years of giving, hoping it meant belonging. Until I learned, boundaries are love, too." They said nothing. So I turned, walked back inside, and shut the door. It was the last time I saw them. Not out of hate, but because I finally stopped giving my piece to people who only saw me as a utility.